also follow us on, YouTube, Spotify, Rumble. We have all the links to the description below. All right. So what would you say is like the most hard part so far of us streaming of when it comes to trying to get people to pay attention or pull people in?
I don't know. I think, in my opinion, I think is the hardest thing about just starting as a casual streamer, because I think everybody has like a concept of, like, they pretty much have a blueprint of what they would
Yeah.
like to do in this business. And the first thing that always comes to mind is either the money, or you want to be not. I mean, everybody has like a different version of like their goal when it comes to streaming, but I do think, they want to either become famous or have money, right? Like, that's, I don't know, most people would just be like, I just kind of want to have a good time. Or, like I said, there's a couple of handful of streamers out there that just want to be able to connect, with people, you know what I mean, in general. And it's a good experience. But I think the hardest thing is being able to, like you just said in the intro right there, is I wouldn't say it's oversaturated. Well, yeah, sort of, but then it's like it makes it hard for anybody to want to start doing this. Period. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you think you would have like some type of experience, like you can have the best personality in the world to start streaming, but it probably still won't be enough to gain, like, to capture the real fans. You know what I mean? Like, there's people passing by on your page. It's most people that just kind of want to try to build a community. You're always going to come across that in the beginning for any and entry level streamers. um
Right.
the hardest thing, I guess, to keep the streamer's mind at ease, because it's already kind of a stressful experience to think about, what can I do differently, how can I study other material, how can I get these guys or people to really stick around and enjoy my content, because you could think of yourself as the most boringest fucking person alive on this planet. um um but because, like, again, like, you start digging at yourself because you don't know exactly what it is. I'm not sure why the industry is kind of like, I wouldn't say specifically the industry is targeted for that. um it's just that people are just like, they don't know what they're looking for as themselves. That's why I said, like, it's easier for people to connect with other people in general, especially if they can relate on different spectrums. You know what I mean? Like, it's really
Right.
just about yourself, right? And
Yeah.
but it's hard because they see all this other content out there, and it's just like you said, I wouldn't say oversaturated. It's just a balance between, it is overpopulated, but then there is like some sort of wiggle room. There is some room in there for people to anybody to do it. But to be successful in this field is something that is rare. Like, it's super rare. I can't tell you how many guys I see that deserves to be in that position of, I'm not saying it has to be the greatest kind of, um you don't have to be the greatest streamer in the world. You don't have to have the most, subscribers or anything like that. But I do see a lot of guys that their talent gets unnoticed. Even if you're just happy with just one fan on the bleachers, kind of
Yeah.
waving their hand, right? Like, that's cool. At least you have somebody that's cheering you on. That's cool. But some of us, especially, like, that you are working extremely hard to build that community. You want to see more people involved in your work,
Exactly.
right? Like, that's, I think anybody that it has a creative mind. I'm not gonna say everybody in this planet has a creative mind, and just in their own unique ways. But I think, like, when it comes down to it, in this business, like I said, like, it's just, there's a lot of things to consider.
Yeah.
Um, it's
And it
not
kind of
as it
demoves.
it's not as simple as just turn on the camera and then just play a video game. Or Doesn't even have to be gaming. It could be whatever it is. IRL, you know what I mean? You know, what is it? Gambling, you know,
Yeah.
anything that you're doing, right? It's not as simple as that. There's a certain chemistry that you have to really study. You know what I mean? It's about studying the human behavior because I mean, some people they don't like to really think too deep when they're coming into this, right? Like they want to
Oh
be able
yeah.
to just come in here, be themselves as much as possible, and then hopefully that's going to click. But what if it doesn't? You know, that's why I
Exactly.
said there's a lot of stuff as a content creator that some people just don't really connect with. Like they well not connect with, but like explain to the public on what the experiences is like. Um, and I, you know, us as myself, you know, we're content creators, but you know, just kind of getting your foot through the door, it almost feels like somebody's kind of like blocking your blocking your path. You know what I mean? It feels like there's something in the way of that door, and I think a lot of people kind of can relate. You know, and that's why I said like there's a lot of guys that coming into this business they think it's gonna be fun and games, and then you know they notice for a while now, you know, they still have that kind of motivation, that fire to keep going, but something along the lines of they're seeing like they're not getting enough results. You know, even if it's just one person, it almost feels like it's almost pointless. What's the
Yeah.
point, right? And if it continues to keep being like that for not just months, but I'm saying years, there's people that do stay at a certain number for years.
Oh yeah.
Could there be a better way for these platforms to because that's how it is with almost anything in life, right? Like we all can't be successful in one field as much as we want to say, as much as we want to get people all in the same bucket list, you know what I mean, the same kind of
Yeah.
category. Because I mean, I wish there was a better way for people to want to all do this and be successful in this field. And again, you don't have to be the biggest one, the biggest streamer out there to be successful. You can consider a win if you got 100 people watching. That's a win for me. Shit,
Right.
even 800, like whatever it is, man, like 60, like anybody watching is a
Just to
win.
see some kind of progression.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But
Yeah.
again, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's not for anybody to, you know, set their goals extremely low and, you know, kind of just say, all right, I don't really, you know, I'm going to keep doing this, but I'm going to kind of see like where it goes. If it doesn't go in my favor, then, you know, it is what it is. But no,
Yeah.
I think it should be a different, something should be a useful, like a course or somebody like that's trying to give you some tips, or you know what I mean, like just educators in Twitch or anybody that reaches out to people. I don't know if that's a thing, or maybe I haven't looked into it enough, but maybe there should be a way for that, for people to be able to connect with others, or you know,
Yeah.
be, you know, study their own, like study the material and actually implement that in their own kind of personality. You know what I mean? Like if there could be people train, and I'm not saying ones that you got to pay for a subscription service or something
Yeah.
like a fee that's like extremely expensive, just for, because again, like you paying for these courses that only show you how it worked for them. Who's to say it's not going to
Yeah.
work for you? Because it's not,
Yeah.
right? Like this is, we're talking about you building your own community. This is supposed to be something strictly for you. I'm saying you could look on YouTube, you can look on other sources on how to build your studio, or I mean not studio, like your community. Um and you can, like I said, you could do the homework, but I just don't think that you should be able to have to pay such extreme, you know, extreme price to,
Yeah.
you know, to learn that material, because it could work for some people, but not a lot.
Yeah.
It's not promised. It's not a guarantee. Yo, after you learn this course, everybody's gonna be successful. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
Like,
it's kind of similar to a discussion we had offline of like, even if you take that person's experience when they first started, it's not going to be the same because we're in a different time period of how the platform is now. It's
right,
like a it's going to be clearly different, especially with your own personality. Your personality is not going to be similar to them because, as we were saying earlier, that's the whole thing. They gravitate towards your personality and who you are as a person. I
Right.
can sit here with this the ski mask on and think, I can label my stream legal immigrant plays the game and try to think that's my stick of trying to get people in, but it's probably just gonna still stay at one viewer.
Right.
It's all about like your charisma and your personality that really draws people in. It's like that first person that did it, Ice Poseidon on Twitch. He's like the pioneer of all of it as far as like IRL streaming, and you can see like him just trolling in RuneScape and then him eventually evolving into like real life streaming. That
Yeah.
was like his way of like gaining an audience. And as
Right.
you see now with like the biggest streamers, they're like screaming into the camera and try to
Mm.
attract the kid audience on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like all kinds of ways of people gathering audiences, but you have to be authentic to yourself though at the end of the day, or you're gonna be another fake person trying to play up a stream.
Like building like I always thought too, man, when you think about building this like kind of community is more or less like building an empire in a way, like in your own kind of room, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
having people just kindly want to send money or kindly want to just always be there, give you advice, even when you're having conversations about your day to people you don't even know. It's just
yeah,
them being able to just come into the room and wanting to express that and give them like honest feedback. And it's an amazing thing, like, you know what I mean, like, because some people don't do that in the real world, but then
yeah,
people that can really help better your day through the internet. That's because obviously the internet has such a like a shitty, you know it has a bad reputation most of the time because it's all
right,
shitheads and assholes that just go online and hate their lives and just want to fucking talk shit and make other people feel the shittier, you know what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
Um but the fact that it's an amazing kind of experience, I don't know who, I wouldn't say invented, but like who started the wave of streaming. I think it was just a way to really connect with people in general through the internet, and in it's supposed to be all positivity. I'm
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna speak like really strongly about that. I think it was designed for us to all enjoy the what the streamers bringing to the table, and kind of again, like, kind of all share our thoughts and our opinions and kind of make a safe place for everybody to enjoy the content. That's what it I feel like that's what all it boils down to, is the making of the
yeah,
content. Like, it's always been like that. um I don't know when did it start, like, because obviously you got the people that just like to come in and just be like spamming the shit, or
yeah. Oh yeah, that's
just
nice.
kind of just talking shit all the time. And I don't know how those people breathe sometimes. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
why. I don't know why they decide they want to go online and kind of shit on people that are trying to. It's not about wanting to get paid or wanting to be the best of the best about in this field. It's just about wanting to help become more of yourself, and expanding on that and connecting with other people that are actually having some difficulties in life as well. Like, yeah, maybe they don't have any friends in the real world, and maybe you could be that first person to kind of show them, give a good insight of their personalities, to, you know
yeah,
what I mean, to kind of like talk to them a little more, like, because there's people that really do connect with people through streams.
yeah.
You don't gotta
It's like
meet
a whole
them.
different
I'm not saying you look. You feel comfortable meeting your fans. That's cool. But being able to talk about what that person, if that somebody wanted to talk in the chat, whatever, wanted to talk about their personal day, or what they're going through, because I've seen it in multiple streams of streamers I've watched.
right.
They'll be like, yeah, my dad died today. I was in the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah,
makes them feel like another family that they never had. Like maybe they didn't have such a good childhood or friendship. Like I mean, listen, I'm not saying it's a good thing to live through the internet. It's not healthy. I get that. We all need to still have a regular life. We all have a life to live, but I'm saying it's not a bad thing either to also want to, expand on friendships and relationships through the internet. Like because again, you could potentially save somebody's life or save somebody from having a shitty day. Like because that's what when you join these streams, people want it. That's kind of like their escapism, right? They want to get away from the bullshit, right? Because reality sucks. We all know that. We know what's going on out there is death, murders, and all that crazy shit out there. So what's the one thing they could do? Either do their hobbies or what I mean, spend time with their families or whatever the case is, or you could just be like people that just like I said, you come to these platforms to enjoy other people, not just playing the game. Because I mean, anybody always makes jokes about, oh man, who could sit there and watch somebody just play a video game, or just like like we saw the other night. I think when we were talking about the streams, we saw somebody just having a camera on the porch. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, who wants to do that? But it's not about what's being shown. It's deeper than that. You know what I mean? You're connecting with somebody. You're connecting directly to the streamer, and it's not even just It's not even just the streamer. It's if you actually have a fan base, they all talk to each other like brothers and sisters, or even friends. You know what I mean? So that's what a great community can do. You know what I mean? And you'll be amazed that they could start helping each other. It's not for the streamer to keep getting money. If we all pitch in and put money towards like hunger or anything like some type of donation, you could take that and roll with it. There's benefits to streaming that I think again like within the course of time, streaming has had a bad reputation in a long time because you got some people that just been streaming to do shit out of control, shit that they just you know what I mean, like they just decide they want to go off rails. And because again like it's like almost having a job that you're really good at, right? Like you're amazing, you're good at, you have people, you have the fan base, you have people telling you you're good at your job. And then we get too comfortable to the point that we think that we're either untouchable or, you know what I mean? That we just we get up we're so up our heads asses. You know what I mean? Like you're not really like paying attention. You got to keep yourself at a balance. You know what I mean? Like yourself
You don't want to
balance.
get
Right?
out of control. Like I seen this one streamer this year. He's been blowing up this year and last year. He goes to like different countries and he just messes with people on the streets and he ends up getting locked up and thrown in jail in different countries. And he said he's American, so he can get out easily. And he just he just uses streaming as a coping mechanism just to troll people in real life. And it's not a good thing to do. Use streaming as that kind of tool, as like a
Yeah.
weapon, just to attack people and
Yeah,
harass
but
people.
that's what I'm saying. It never was. It was never a tool to use against maliciously. In my opinion, I think it's always been a tool to help and build
Right.
and you know what I mean, and continue to keep going. Because I don't know, man. It is a fun experience. I will say, as the little bit of time I have been doing it, I've only been doing it for a month. Have I been successful? No, absolutely not. Because I'm still fresh at it. I'm not expecting to be 100 million fucking watchers tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I don't really want that pressure. I think for me personally, like I just want enough. I don't want the money. I don't want the fame. I don't want any of that stuff. What I personally want is to how do I say it? To actually how do you say it? Got it off the top of my head. I just want to be able to entertain people, man. Build the fan
Right.
base and just have a good time. Because that's what it's about, man. It's just some people just like to just fucking use it as, oh man, I can't wait to get paid. Yeah, well, you coming
Yeah.
into this business with a wrong fucking mentality.
Yeah.
Like
It's about the journey.
it's not about wanting to do any of that shit, man. It's just like if your mind is just strictly on the money. I mean, listen, it could blow up. That's great. But when your mind is just strictly about the money, it's never about the fans. You don't give a fuck about these people, and they're sending you
Yeah.
their hard-earned money. You
Exactly.
know, they don't have to send you fucking $5 to $10 and shit. They do that because they feel like this is supporting you for entertaining
Yeah.
me, or I just want to do something, a good deed. I just want to send you $5, $10. Oh yeah, thank you. You didn't have to do that. You didn't
Yeah.
have to do that because that's what I'm saying. I'm not on here to gain, as much money as possible. I do this. Look, I went up to this point in my life without asking people for money. Not doing it going forward. You know what I mean? Like if you want to,
Right.
that's fine. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. That's ultimately up to the person. But I'm not here for your money. I'm here to build a relationship with my fans. That's what I
Right.
started this. That's why I started the podcast. We started the podcast. It wasn't
Yeah.
just to get clout. The problem is with being creative in this business in general, is this it's an extreme hard climate, right? It's what I mean
Yeah.
by that is everybody and their mom. There's some type of podcast coming out every fucking day. There's one about the material of the street. Like I don't know, like it's
People
something
don't
that's
like that.
random, man. It's like chairs. There's a podcast on chairs. You actually have to sit upright, and it's what I mean. Like, and I'm exaggerating, but it's the truth. There's always some type of new material coming out. I can't keep up with the trend because there's so much brilliant people on this planet. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. It's not. Most people, they just want to keep doing, because again, this is fun stuff. Like it is fun, you know but
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying, when you come in, that but the problem is when you get to a point, like I said in the beginning of this what we've been talking about, is when you get to a certain point that you feel like it's not going anywhere. Some people just
Right.
give up. I've seen it.
It, it becomes demeaning at some point when you just constantly just see zero viewers or one viewer and
and and
chat
it, and
nobody's
it's a shame,
commenting or explaining.
it's a shame because you do all this hard work for you to give up. And that's not what life's
Right.
about, right? I think we all can agree about that. You got to keep trying, like regardless if you can, you sit at zero for fucking years. You got to keep trying. If this is what you want to do, be successful, but be successful in your own way. Not, again, if you want to be the best and the best, you got to push yourself. You got to keep working. But
Right.
if you want to just be having a few fans and just be happy with that, then that's fine too. But like I said, going back to what I was saying, it's a difficult thing to do in this climate because streaming, podcasting, all types of there's so much that it's just hard for anybody to break into these things and be unique, because we all sound like we're all repeating each other. We're all repeating ourselves, really. Like we're all saying the same shit. Oh, the TV, that movie came out this week. Oh yeah, let's have IGN. Let's have all these different type of social media contents talk about it.
Yeah.
How the fuck are you gonna make a difference by you talking about it? Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Oh
Exactly.
yeah, pour your own creativity. You could do that, but I guarantee somebody already had that idea, and somebody, it's already out there. So what's the point?
It's
You
like
know what I
there's
mean? Like,
nothing new under the sun. You
yeah,
know.
I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying what's the point of all of this. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's really difficult to be unique in this climate. So the best advice I have to give to the world is, I don't know, man, you just have to do, it's the same, it's going to sound cliche, but it's the truth. You have to focus on what makes you happy the most, regardless if it sounds the same as the next fucking guy, because you're going to drive yourself nuts and trying to do something different each time. There's just, it's
Yeah.
hard to be an inventor. I wouldn't say a create, like we could be content creators, but I'm saying you have to invent a new fad or a new, a new type of shit that no one's ever seen before. Like it's possible, people can do it, but it takes a very, very unique person, character, to set a motion in a different motion. You have to set the different wave. You know what I mean? Like it's different. It's hard. It's hard.
You also have to be good at marketing, like just marketing yourself and trying to
Understand,
sell a
right?
person
Exactly. But
because it's a big pool of people, and to stand out, it's like you have to be that one and only person that do something crazy or just I've seen some crazy bits from hot tub streams to people screaming on the streets and doing fire everywhere. And I mean, we've seen with people trying to sell PS5s in New York downtown, how crazy that went. It's just the extent how crazy things can get just to stand out. It's like you said, you don't want to drive yourself crazy or get in any type of big trouble for it.
Right.
You want to be able to contain it, but at the same time, trying to work it yourself and build from there.
Right.
It's, this game's definitely a struggle to get through, but it's not to play victim either. It's like you shouldn't blame anything, but because each of these platforms are different. Like Rumble, like the one we're on currently, it's surrounded by a lot of people on here come to Rumble for politics or like conspiracies. It's kind of similar to Spotify in that sense of like just like in Kick, it has like a different demographic over there. It's like that's mostly gambling and like game streamers and
Right.
stuff like that. Each platform has their own form of audience, so it's different no where you go, but you just have to become a chameleon or like add splices of that to your stream just to try to build your way up into that algorithm or
Yeah, but that's
catch some kind of eyes.
yeah, but that's extremely hard to always having to change this, like to change the dynamic of your material each platform. Like what we have for the podcast, right? Let me give an example. Is it's definitely extreme. It's a difference on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, that's already
Mm-hmm.
said TikTok, the streaming platforms like Twitter. You know what I mean? Like all of these different platforms. Why is it different? Why? Why?
Well,
Why is it different on each of these things? It should be if you're trying to if you're making a podcast about whatever, like what we're doing now, it's about video games and stuff like that. Why do I need to spin it in a different way each time for them to
mm-hmm.
just be gravitated towards that one thing? You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be like that. It should be I'm we're doing this the way that we intended it to be, and I want people, if you don't like it, that's fine, but I'm doing this for me. Because some people like to say in the entertainment business is like you have to do things just for the audience. No, because you lose a piece of yourself in that process when you do that. I'm
Yeah,
not
very
doing that.
true.
I'm not doing that. It's either is I will understand some things that if my fans want me to do just to make them happy, I would bend a little bit, but you got to still have a bit piece of yourself as well, and you can't just make it all about what they want. You got to do what you think is right for you, because this is your
Right.
this is your story.
Yeah,
They're a part of
exactly.
they're reading your book is what they're doing, and you're trying to make it entertaining for them to enjoy it.
Yeah,
So it shouldn't be like I have to keep changing each page in my book just for everybody to enjoy my content. I'm not with that. I think
yeah,
everybody should be able to be themselves, especially through the internet, because again, being ourselves in the real world, it's a good thing. It's a great thing. It's what we need to do. But it's almost like we still can't be comfortable enough. Some of us are, a lot of us are, but there some of us come to here to feel more comfortable about being ourselves and being in a different setting. But again, that's why I said like some people just you have to find a balance between um you know a pretend world and the real world,
mhm.
because the internet is it's a real place, but you can't just pour so much into you still got to focus on your life as well too. I'm not saying that's
Exactly.
you just got to find a balance in there, but you should still feel like, especially in streaming, it should feel like another home to you.
Yeah, where you can be yourself. Because in the real world, we tend to a lot of people, especially that work 9 to 5, they put on a fake smile for the boss and the employees and like and the customers that they're not themselves in real life. They had to put up that front to really try to fit in and really be corporate and PC to everybody else while they're coping with themselves inside and not really letting themselves out. And the internet allows people to let themselves out, except sometimes anonymously in a dangerous way, but sometimes in a good way. Like we're saying with streaming, it's like you can really fully display yourself in a positive manner and show who you really are, outside of work or outside of school, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It's very important just to express yourself because a lot of people are not comfortable, like you were saying earlier, talking to people, strangers or whoever it may be about their personal life or who they really are because it's a cruel world. A lot of people like to take advantage of people and use that
Mm-hmm.
against them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a balance. It's definitely a balance for the internet, especially because it just gets more crazier as each day goes on.
Like like the thing is, like I told you, like I was saying before, what can we do for the next guy behind me, the next person behind us? What can we
You
do
know,
for people to feel more comfortable about coming into this? Because again, I do this to myself. I can use myself as an example. When I stream, when I stream, I feel like I'm conquering. Basically, like I have to feel like that because I'm trying to entertain people, right? Like that's you have to conquer your own world, right? But
you know,
when I see others, and they always tell you don't worry about others because you can't compare on a different level. But it's kind of again, I think we all as creators kind of do this at some point to see like source material. You know what I mean? Just to kind of look
right,
for look for pointers, look to see like how others are doing it, just to kind of get a little bit of an understanding. Not to take their style because it's not possible. That's who they are. It worked for them, but
right,
what are they doing differently that I can take a little bit of that, but still have a little bit of me, and just kind of mix it and stir it in the pot just a little differently, right?
right,
I think we all do that, but we see like their success, their build, and it almost feels like it shits on you. And I
yeah,
always get that feeling, man. I really do. I always feel like if I see some other successful content creators, it's almost feel like personally for me, I just it's like kind of a letdown. Like it makes you feel like, why am I doing this? I know that's not a good way to think. It's not a good example, but yeah, I think we all do that though. We all try to do something, and then we see others be more successful, and then you put yourself down in that moment. But
yeah,
if you're smart enough, if you have the confidence there, you will find a way to make it your own and grow. Just keep growing from there. It's like watering a plant. It's like
yeah.
eventually
It's
it's
like
gonna get
each
bigger,
day.
right?
Yeah, because it's like even like when you start to get some success, it's still phases you have to go through to really try to meet your what you're trying to get to your next milestone. It's always going to be like a blocking way. You have to try to figure out how to get around that wall because it's like a constant struggle as you try to keep building up. Right now, we're in like the phase of like people just drifting in and drifting out, and they're not following, and it's hard to get them to communicate to us in the comment section. It's
Yeah, because it almost feels like they don't have like we're not forcing them to communicate. The fact again, like I think you may not follow now, but
yeah,
if you're a constant repeat that keeps coming back, eventually they will follow because now I think what people like to do nowadays than back when the streaming platforms were just coming around, and the first thing that the because it was new to us at the time, we were like, oh, look at that, like this is different, let me follow that because it was just easier to do. I think
right,
people what they like to do now is just to fill you out to see if I really want to stay around, if I really want to invest most of my days or times into your content. If not, then yes, unfortunately, because we've been on these platforms for such a long time, we
mm,
want to see what because there's so much, like I said, there's so much material that it's just easy to flip to the next upcoming guy or the next person that's bigger than that person. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's not like how it was back in them times. So I feel like um, people just but the fact that if you're just sitting there watching, then that tells me that I'm doing something good. I'm doing
Right.
something that is you. It may, I don't know, maybe you're not entertained, but you're still interested in whatever I'm doing. So that tells me there's a spark
Yeah.
in trying to get until grabbing your attention. You know what I mean? So that boosts up content creators like me that are just starting to feel more to become more successful. That tells me I'm doing something right. So if
Yeah.
it's an exciting experience at first, especially when you feel like, okay, I got one, two, then three, then four to five, six, and it keeps growing from there. So again, like that just tells me like there's some hope in this field. But then there's times that it's like a curveball. Like you'll
Yeah.
gain a lot, then you'll lose a lot, then you'll gain a lot. It's like a scale. Like, you know,
Right.
I've seen it. Yo, if you studied this platform long enough, you'll see it. There's people that come and go in this business all the time because, you know,
Right.
people always want to know what's going on in the next chapter. They feel like if they seeing the same things over and over and over and over again, they don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
They want to be entertained. They want to keep going. So we can't get really control those type of peoples, but the ones that stick around, it's all love and support.
Yep, exactly.
You know?
And I just look at it as this like streaming became like the new TV. You could just, like you just said, you could just switch to the next streamer and see who really appeals to your entertainment more. You know, you could just be like, oh, this guy's boring, click. Oh, this guy's not doing nothing, click. Oh, she's showing her ass. Let me stay here.
Yeah.
It's
I
it's just a switch of a button.
I mean I'm not look, I'm not gonna be afraid to talk about this, but it has look, I'm not trying to sexualize anything, but it's the truth. Like let's all be quite frankly here. The I feel like look, if it's a beautiful woman online, whatever the case is, they always gravitate towards that. They really do because
Of
it's
course.
more of an attraction versus a guy that who, regardless if he weighs 300 pounds and he's sitting in a computer chair, they're gonna probably make fun of him or whatever the case is. But
Yeah.
you know what I
Gonna
mean?
look
I don't know why it's always been like that because the girl can actually be extremely boring as fuck. She's just pretty. You like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
I mean,
it.
every time, not to be funny, but they're just sitting there on their phone inside a pool or something. It's
Yeah.
not really much going on.
Yeah, or they're playing something that's boring as shit. Like I don't like solitaire. Like I don't get it, man. I'm not saying like but it's the truth. Like let's all agree on that. I'm not saying it's all about gender, nothing like that. But it's been like that for a minute now. You know, what's some of the the strongest female streamers out there, right? Like most of them are gorgeous and yeah, they do. Some of them do got personalities behind them, but a lot of them they just be like, "Fuck you," like you just pretty. Like I'm paying, just because I have some sort of attraction to you. It's like when do we turn
Yeah.
this into
It's
porn?
another bundle for OnlyFans. That's a lot of
Yeah,
them
that's
put
what
their
I'm saying. Like
OnlyFans on that phone.
when do we turn this into porn, bro? Like you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that's why I'm saying Twitch became different. Like
Yeah.
it been I don't know, man. There's people walking dogs, clean, maybe, putting a bag on their hand and picking up the dog shit. Like that's because now you can use it on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Twitch,
Really.
you can go live on your phone now. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like IRL, they take it definitely to a different stage. But like, there's people that I don't get it. And then there's the one, the what is the did that wave already finish the ASMR shit? Look, I've never.
That's
I
been around for years now.
I listen, ladies, like whoever's listening, it's the truth, man. Like I don't get that one, man. Like that one is different, bro. Like I can't look at
Yeah.
it. I can't just listen to somebody just scratching it or just like hot ass breath on the mic. You know what I mean? Like I don't get it.
Yeah.
Or their toenails, they're clipping their toenails, but you can hear like the little scrape of the. Like I can't. I'm not with that, man.
and people farting into the mic. It's like it's ridiculous. It's all
Yeah.
kinds of fetishes. That's what
But
it comes
again,
down to.
but
People like
it
the
but
fetishizers.
this is the thing, right? Like it works for them, right? Like I mean, that's
Correct.
their audience. I'm not
Yeah.
knocking it. It may not be for me, but it's somebody else, right? Like
I'm just gonna call it blunt. It's like some big, big fat people. They're just eating on stream, man. People like to enjoy that. Like people like to see people eat. What they call mukbang. That's like a whole nother category of like people just scrunching
I
down on food and just having a good old time. And they're like, oh, I like to watch them eat, and I can eat at the same time too.
that's the first time I heard that one. That's the first I never heard that one before.
Yeah, it's just like ASMR has been around for years, still on YouTube. Like people just eating shit
So what
or
you said it? What is
watching
it like?
funny.
What is it like scrumptious?
Yeah, they just put like a big plate of food and then they just eat it,
uh,
in front of the camera, and that's it.
uh, I
And they
don't
make
know,
like
man.
thousands of views.
I don't know, man. It's a crazy thing to really think about. When we started podcasting, I think our main goal was, let's because I mean we especially for people that has always been trying to make something of themselves, especially the life is if you had to live a hard life, especially in the ghetto or whatever you went came from. You know what I mean? Like trying so
Yeah,
much different things, especially growing up. You try to get into music, that didn't work. You try to, write a script for a movie. That didn't work. Writing is not the best thing. Like, you know what I mean? So,
right.
what was the one thing that you got to tell yourself? What was you good at? Everybody's good at something. You got to always tell yourself that everybody is good at something. You may not find it
Right.
now. You may not find it till you're 48. Unfortunately, who cares? I mean, you're still young, still got time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you gotta find something that eventually will be good at. And for us, I think when we first came into this, we thought, what can we do that can be entertaining for everybody else? We had the idea years ago, like not to start a podcast, but gaming. Streaming it. YouTube videos. Because I mean, again, we all grew up around the same era where if you're old enough around our age, YouTube was a place that as long as you post videos and just kind of you don't even have to say nothing. Most people that was successful in them times, if you there was something about 2013 around that time that
Hmm.
if you was around that time that you was gonna be successful regardless of your content because the internet was a different place. It was a different time, and more people were spending a lot more time on the internet. And it wasn't as expanded as it is now. Obviously, now it's everything. Like there's so much, but YouTube was just kind of like superior at that point because it was 2007. That's when it first dropped, I believe. If I'm not, don't quote me on like don't I'm not entirely sure. You can fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure it was the early 2000, not early 2000s, but like late 2000s. And around
Yeah.
that time, like it was a place that holy shit, you could look up videos to watch videos online. Like we couldn't really do that before YouTube was around, right? Like it was just a place that Wikipedia was been around, like Google was around, like we just had to look up stuff, information. It was more like an educational tool more than it was a entertainment tool back in them times.
Hey,
So
that's where the whole name came from. YouTube. It's supposed to be about you. Your
right,
personality as a
yeah,
creator. And
but just like anything else, they always turn it
yeah,
into
after a
like
while, it got stripped
yeah,
away from us.
within time goes
Commercial.
by, they always find a way to demolish what it was made for, man. That's what they
Yeah.
it's like having toys. Like you have a whole bunch of toys in a room, and the first set of kids they were on good behavior, but then afterwards, like after a while, you get them badass kids that like to bite on the toy and throw it out the window. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
Get demonetized. You can't make no money off it no more because the ad revenue doesn't like your comments or whatever politics or whatever whatever you're talking about.
uh,
You
how
get
you
more
doing?
restricted and put down.
How you doing,
So it's
PT? Yeah, we got a comment right here. PT cry, Pride Club. How you doing? How you doing?
hey, how you doing, man? I hope you're
Uh,
doing well. Thank you for putting a comment in there. But yeah, we're pretty much just talking about streaming and our experience because it's not. I wouldn't say it's too much of a struggle, but it's like it's hard to get your foot up on it. You know, get a start in it without
Yeah.
knowing the proper ways to get through streaming and
It
to start it in
it
the first place.
it almost feels like push-ups. Like it almost feels like you only could do a certain amount of push-ups, and you can see other people just doing like 100 set of push-ups and shit. You know what I mean? Like you're
Right.
like, hold on, I'll get there one day, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
And see,
It's a difficult thing to think about when you first do it because everybody thinks it's so easy. It really is.
yeah.
Like you could go and anybody, have a conversation with this on the street about anybody. They just be like, "Yeah, it's easy. You just sit in front of a camera and just play fucking games, like, and just make jokes." No, it's really
Yeah.
not that. It's, and it's funny because you
Right.
could look up online too, right? You could look up online. It says there's a bunch of studies that you know that would say like, "Oh yeah, I don't understand." Like if you do, if you make like kind of like a they have a whole list of like so if you make like if you study the time frames of your audience or it's some of it might be true like or you got to make the cosmetics pop out like I'm not sure what the overlay does to make it feel more like comfortable. Who cares? I've seen plenty of streamers that don't have overlays or any of that dumb shit because people that's what I'm saying, people worry about the aesthetics more than the material, and the material is really what keeps the people here talking
Yeah.
and enjoying.
About that great.
So
Yeah, because like if you're just gonna make your whole stream look pretty and with a bunch of lights and flash and shit, and then you're not entertaining at all, it's just like, what are they there for? Just to watch? They can just look at an app and look at a bunch of flashing lights for all that.
yeah,
It's about you and the content. That's what it really comes down to. I see people stream just from their phone all the time, like I'm doing right now, and they get like thousands of views on TikTok. Just them sitting in the bed, laying down, just talking on their
no,
phone
my
under the covers.
my favorite one. It's not my favorite, but I'm just joshing. My favorite ones be
Yeah.
like, they just be asleep. They be like this, and they be asleep, and they still be talking. I'm like, I don't get how anybody just, I don't get it. Like, but like, is it something simple as just that, or just you know what I mean, doing a backflip or a cartwheel? Like, I don't get it. Like, I
Yeah,
don't.
just people just playing music. They donate something and then it just plays loud music just to interrupt their sleep. That's what their whole entertainment is about.
Well, I
Or
mean,
them just chatting in the silence.
at that point, you're not even. Is that a fan base or is that more like I'm just gonna fuck with you while you're sleeping? Like I don't get it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like
Uh,
they just people just like to get a kick out of harassing or just like irritating the streamer themselves, and that's like their way of entertainment, I guess.
yeah. But that's what I was trying to make a point is it is not a easy industry to jump into. It's not something that anybody could just pick up and do it. Like anybody, I would say you're not. A lot of people is just not built for the field, and
Yeah,
that's like with a lot of things in life. We all want to be good at something, but we have to find it. But this is one. This is a. I will say, like, even if you feel like you're not made for it, you have to. The internet is such a big place that eventually somebody will find a connection with you, and
right.
this is the one place that you regard how doesn't matter how bad your personality is, doesn't matter how bad your material is, whatever you're doing, you can find a way to make your material better within time. This is the one place I
Yeah,
feel like you can't possibly be that bad. I mean, I could be wrong. There might be terrible people out there that just suck really bad. But I mean, I really hope for those people that they get better at doing it because if they want to be successful in this field, they have to just keep trying.
yeah,
Because we all like listen, even for the big streamers, you go back and watch their first videos, they were not how they were right now, right? Like they was just like me and you or anybody else
yeah.
out there that just started out. They were not the best, man. And I guarantee nobody watched them, nobody cared about because nobody knew who they were, right? Like you got to
Right.
start somewhere.
Yeah, you don't realize like a lot of these big people they started on different platforms just to get a start on it, and then they blew up on a different
Yeah,
platform. A lot of times that's how it works too. It's like you don't find
uh,
out about them until they blow up somewhere else.
right.
It, it's just the name of the game. It's just, you gotta put your successes on each platform just to see which one you attract the audience the most on. That's just the name of the game.
Hmm.
And I guess that's like the benefit we have today. It's like in so many different apps and channels that you can put your material on that it's willing to catch somebody's attention eventually. It just takes you keep trying and being more creative and try to top yourself. Because if you forever just try to chase the numbers, it's just you're just gonna fail or just self destruct, and that's never the way to go. I've seen
Hmm.
that plenty of times, even with the bigger streamers. They shot up overnight and then they went straight down afterwards. It's you don't want that kind of success either, where you blow up instantly and then you get fucked over by your own
Uh,
community.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't like you really don't have no control over. You don't have no control over whether what the amount of speed of traction that you get. If you do blow up, then you have to find a way to maintain it, right? Like you have to find a way
Yeah,
to. You blew up within overnight. That's great. That's some say that's a fucking miracle, right? Because I mean, listen, some of us have been doing it for 10 plus years and still struggling to keep 100,
right.
right? Again, we're not all fortunate enough. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so that's cool, but it's not a bad or good thing. The speed of like your recognition on like your material and stuff. That's not a bad or good
hmm
thing. It's really not. Um,
yeah.
it's just
I think
about but
I was about to say, I think my overall point was you don't want to take that when you blow up overnight, just to keep on, self-destructing over that. You want to, if you do blow up overnight, you want to take advantage of it and not,
yeah,
try to, destroy your reputation at
but
the
that's what I
right
mean by some
process.
people that blow up overnight. They don't really know how to because they never it if it just happened overnight, they're not going to have enough time to work on the material. Basically, what I'm trying to say is they don't know
Yeah,
how to maintain it because it happens so fast.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I've like you said, you've seen plenty of people that go up and then come down quick
yeah,
because maybe they just didn't. They got lucky enough to where it hit one time, but they didn't know how to fly the plane right. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like that's the best way I could express it. You know what I mean? But my
yeah.
big my biggest thing on just this whole take is basically just trying to say like be yourself, learn from learn from your audience if you can get an audience. If not, it's okay because within time it will happen. You just got to be patient
Yeah.
because you got a lot of
Patience is the
people
key.
that are impatient like myself can include it that are impatient that again I'm we're not expecting to blow up tomorrow. We're not expecting to have the most fucking audience, but we want to see at least one person, one more person, two people, three people gradually because that tells us that we're doing a good job. That tells us that okay, maybe this is something that they like, you know.
Right.
And if not, then kind of tell me like is there something else? Again, yeah, I'm not saying I want to be a musician and do the fingers trick. You know what I mean? Like I can make stuff disappear. Like I'm not going to do everything all and above. Um but I will see what other material, like what other things of my audience are actually interested in me wanting to do. Like I'll be open to that,
Yeah, exactly.
right? But
Yeah.
it's a learning curve, and I will say it is a different beast versus doing material on a podcast because
Oh
it is
yeah.
you're live, you're talking to people, and people can see you live. This is happening currently. There's no edits. There's no funny jokes. Everything is. It's more of a pressure because you really have to make the material live. You have to. There's no funny noises or any of that
Oh,
stuff.
script.
This is all you, man. You know,
Right.
and some people probably just have a hard time transitioning from regular videos to streams because that's why some people just rather do regular videos than streaming because
Right.
they feel like they can't do what they do on the regular videos. That's why I've said it's a hard transition for anybody,
Oh yeah.
you know.
So you pretty much gotta communicate with your comment section at the same
I
time, ping pong back and forth from what you're doing and also the audience. It's
I
you got to
get
keep that balance.
I give all praise. I do. And the reason why I give all praise is because anybody that can sit in front of a monitor for 8 hours, even longer than that, look, man, I do it for 2 3 hours because that's the limit that my eyes can do
Yeah,
on the monitors, right? Like 8 hours plus, you start feeling like real tired, man. It's such a bad. It takes really a mental toll on you. You start to feel like shit the next couple days because you feel like your eyes is fucking burning and dried out, tired.
yeah,
Like it almost feels like your eyes been lifting weights, like your eyelids. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
it just
You
it's
definitely have to take breaks.
it's hard, man. It's hard to manage, and because you don't want to end like there be times that for streamers, like I don't know if everybody else feels that way too, but there be a time that for streamers that they want to, maybe they're tired, they just don't feel like playing it anymore, but they can't do that because the audience. I mean, they still could do whatever they want. It's their stream, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
for content reasons, especially if you're affiliated or on within their contracts, you have to produce a certain amount of hours into your content. So it's
yeah,
almost like it's work. It's literally work. You're punching in, and you got to do a full 8 hours or plus if you want to get paid properly. But
yeah.
there's
You got to meet those quotas of trying to get
Yeah, like
the
you know,
streaming attention.
because that's what I'm saying. It's all fun and games, but once you once you put in an application for these platforms to start bringing in some actual money, it's it's gonna be different from there, man. It really is. You can't say certain things. They put lock stuff. They put a lot of barriers between what you really want to say. Um, and you can get
Right.
banned from these platforms, obviously. So that's why you always got to be careful what you say on them. So it's
Make sure
it's
learn
it
the rules and restrictions of
there's
their
yeah
website.
there's a lot of that stuff, and I get it. I don't really like bash that part because a lot of these places are you know protective reasons because the internet is crazy, man. You got people that just
Oh
don't give
yeah,
a fuck, like that would
yeah,
say whatever on their minds. And I mean, we
yeah,
all we all have dark places in the back of our brains, but I will say I mean, you got to know your limits, man. You can't just go up on the internet and say, hey, you should, go hang yourself. You know what I mean? Like, some
yeah.
people just want, yeah, like I don't know, man. There's some evil motherfuckers on there,
Yeah.
um,
There was cases of that in the past too. People on
but
stream did evil stuff. You don't want to go to that path, and you want to
yeah,
have
there
restrictions
is
for your
such thing as
website.
called the dark web. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's for another stream. Live, live leaks and dark websites like that. It's pretty fucked up.
Mm.
But yeah, that's pretty much what we wanted to go over though, as far as like the streaming, and let us know in the comment section what you guys think of like the history and what you think about us streaming more, and give us some topics to even talk about on stream. We could probably start to do this deep kind of
Yeah.
streaming more, whatever you want.
Yeah, follow us, guys. Definitely give us a follow and just support our content. We appreciate all of it. Like we always say on each podcast episode, if you've been following us on Spotify, YouTube, all of our other platforms, and you should
Yeah,
probably you should understand that we just really want to hear you guys' thoughts, and being able to connect with you guys actually gives us motivation to keep going. You know,
exactly.
I not if I gotta be completely honest with you guys, I'm not just putting on a clown outfit and dancing for you guys like we're on you're throwing pennies into my hat or bucket. I want to hear
Right.
you guys feedback. Hey, you're good at that, man. You should probably try this, or you know what I mean. Like give us some honest feedback on that stuff because it almost feels like I'm throwing so much content, and that's what I'm saying. Is a lot of people do that in this business of just throwing as much as possible as yeah, you can hit you can hit like even our videos. We've hit thousands, 2000s, whatever the case is. That's fucking great. But where's the follows? You
Exactly.
know, it's more like, oh yeah, I seen this, that was cool, like, and then keep going, don't give a fuck. That's like
Yeah.
that's nah, man. Like, a lot of these videos go like listen, there's a lot of hard blood, sweat, and tears that go into that material. What makes us keep going is the support. You know,
Exactly.
is the support of it because it feels like all right, cool. And I'm not saying each video drop. All right, cool. I got like 5 subscribers. I lost 10 this week. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a success each time you climb them stairs, but you know,
Right.
the couple first 5 videos you put out, give me at least 3 or 4 subscribed. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's fair enough. If I'm dropping more products down and I'm not receiving a little more, then it's like, yeah. But if I'm just giving you a bone, throwing you a bone, I at that point, like, yeah, I mean, go and watch it. Hey, have fun with this, whatever.
Yeah, especially if you catch yourself coming back to the content. It's like, come on, you want to watch it some more. So, just give
Yeah,
subscribe, man. You don't want this wasted potential to go to, the wayside. We put so many hours of time into editing and drawing the thumbnails and a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes of the process of making these to come to life. So
yeah,
it really helps us when you support.
right.
You know?
But
Yeah, that's about it.
that's about
Guys,
it, guys.
we'll
Again,
try that next
hopefully,
time.
hopefully you love the content. Like we said before, like, subscribe. Follow us on Rumble. Even you can follow us on any other platform. But go check out our content, give us some feedback, and continue to keep watching us. We're gonna keep throwing more content your way. And how we're gonna be successful is if we all gonna put our 2 cents into all these things, man. We got to keep going. We got to keep building as a community.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Gotta stay safe.
All right. Have a good one.
Peace.